Welcome back to the JCPod, partner with Stare Down Sports. Stare down greatness. And man, 120 days away from the NFL season. Realistically, it's 121, but 120 days away from NFL Week 1. Crazy to think that every time we come on, it gets that little bit much closer. So without any further ado, today we're going to keep it very simple. I just want to go over some QB battles that we should watch out for as we get ready to prep for NFL futures and all that upcoming. So I want to discuss that a little bit. Go over some of the NFL news that's happened over the weekend, and then I want to talk some new rules or new things that they're deciding they might do with the college football playoffs and what we might be able to expect from that. Yeah, going to keep it simple. Not too crazy today. Just got a little football talk. So without any further ado, let's hop right in. I think we should probably go over We'll save the college football stuff for last. We'll go over some NFL QB battles, and then I'll go over some NFL news. But, like I said, obviously there's going to be some teams. This should be pretty straightforward for some teams. Like, for example, Patrick Mahomes. Don't think he's in a QB battle. That's one less guy to worry about. It's a lot of stuff like that, pretty much. Just because, like, for example, Cleveland Browns. They got 4 guys that might be battling for QB, so we just got to keep an eye on. And like I said, there's some big NFL news that happened over this weekend that we should keep an eye on, especially in the kicking world. But like I said, quarterback-wise, we'll just pretty much go through some of these teams and try to figure out, like, all right, is this team going to need it? Is this team going to need a quarterback? We'll start off, and literally we'll just go from, we'll go from the best team to the worst team, because that probably will burn us through some teams pretty easily. Detroit Lions. They got Jared Goff. I think they're pretty good. Kansas City Chiefs. They got Patrick Mahomes. I think they're pretty good. The Eagles should be good. They got Jalen Hurts, but Kyle McCord they did draft, so watch out. No, I think, if anything, Kyle McCord's probably going to potentially end up being the backup maybe at some point down the line. Minnesota Vikings. This is an interesting one. If you look at the roster QB-wise, it's Max Brosmer. Max Brosmer, who actually ended up playing in Minnesota. He's now with the Vikings. We got Sam Howell, J.J. McCarthy, and Brett Rippon. All signs point to J.J. McCarthy as a starter. I'm assuming Sam Howell will be his backup just because he's the most NFL tenured guy with maybe Brett Rippon could be the backup. But yeah, that seems like that's a J.J. McCarthy's going to be start if assuming he's healthy and ready. And if anything, there's a battle between Bosmer, Howell, and Rippon for number 2 and 3. Which, I guess we'll see, honestly, who ends up taking it there. But all signs point to J.J. McCarthy unless they end up picking up a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. But I don't think this is an Aaron Rodgers team. So all signs really point to Minnesota Vikings probably keeping their guy. Josh Allen with the Buffalo Bills. They're probably good. Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, they're good. The Commanders just got the guy in Jaden Daniels, so they're okay. Justin Herbert for the Chargers. Yeah, I think they're fine there. Jordan Love for the Packers. They obviously don't have a QB battle there. Baker Mayfield for the Bucs. There's no QB battle there. But it'll be interesting to see in the next 3 to 5 years if they start to pivot to, like, who's the future? Because obviously maybe Baker Mayfield can play another 5 to 6 years. That's right. That's basically the next question I have quarterback-wise with the Buccaneers is, what's the plan for after Baker? But we might not have to worry about that for another, 3 to 4 years, if even maybe 5 to 6. So we'll just have to see with them. But Baker Mayfield obviously is going to start the season for the Bucs. Houston Texans. The Houston Texans have C.J. Stroud. Obviously, I don't think they have a QB battle there. The Rams were able to bring back Matt Stafford, so they have no stressing to worry about there. Now, their QB situation is really interesting because on the roster currently, they have Will Howard, Mason Rudolph, and Skylar Thompson. That right there tells me, all right, Mason Rudolph is starting. Will Howard, I would assume, would be the backup. Skylar Thompson would be the third option. That's how I would assume, but if it came down to somebody playing week 1, I would even consider they might put in Skylar Thompson above Will Howard, so that way Will Howard has some time to learn this season, but all signs point to this team getting Aaron Rodgers. There's no way this team just waits until the 6th round to get their quarterback, and then they get Will Howard, and there's no way they, after waiting that long to get a quarterback, they're like, all right, we're okay with Mason Rudolph, Will Howard, and Skylar Thompson. I would assume this has to be, I wouldn't say have to be, but I would really assume that this is a, whatever you call it. I'm assuming this is an Aaron Rodgers team. But like I said, we don't know if he's officially playing football or not. I assume he's going to play. And at this point, it's either Steelers or bust. So if he is going to play, it seems like they're going to be the Steelers. And this is a way side note, but man, I didn't realize Evan Hull ended up on the Pittsburgh Steelers now. That's the ex-Colt. Shout out my boy. But man, that was actually kind of crazy to read. I just saw that. I'm like, man, since when did he leave the Colts? But like I said, Aaron Rodgers, it's looking like he's most likely going to be the guy that is going to be the Steelers. And if not, That's a really interesting QB room. That makes me really question their over-under. I won't lie to you, that over 8.5, I feel a lot worse about it with Will Howard or Skylar Thompson over and Aaron Rodgers, even with how bad Aaron Rodgers played. I just think that the team overall with the Steelers is way better than the Jets, so I feel like that would be something where they would be able to, show a little bit better on the field. That's what it was. Sorry, I was reading about, I got distracted by that Evan Hull a little bit, because he's supposed to be the guy behind Jonathan Taylor, and then his first carry, he ends up tearing his ACL, which was one carry. I mean, yeah, I don't know if it was the first carry, if it's the second carry it happened, but he has one carry and then tore his ACL, and then he ended up just never bringing it back. So I was like, man, that's a whole NFL story for a different day about how, like, it's crazy how all this promise can happen, then one injury just completely changes the career. But that's most sports in general, isn't it? Like I said, though, Aaron Rodgers, Steelers is kind of what I'm thinking. Denver Broncos, they obviously are going to be good. They have Bo Nix. Seattle Seahawks, I'm pretty sure that's Sam Darnold unless they absolutely decide to play Jalen Milroe right away. I wouldn't think they would, but that's an interesting QB room. Sam Darnold, Drew Lock, Jalen Milroe. Especially if Sam Darnold isn't who they think he is and they see some promise out of Jalen Milroe. That'd be very interesting to see if they're like, all right, Sam, we appreciate you. If they did this move, this would probably be an end-of-season move where they move on from Sam Darnold and they're like, Jalen Milroe? It's now Jalen Milroe season. But we're going to see. I don't think this is a bad team at all for him to go to. I think there is a lot of upside here, especially because of the QB room. I mean, Drew Lock and Sam Darnold, they ain't the best of guys to beat out. So it's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening with the Seattle Seahawks quarterback situation. But like I said, Jalen Milroe, not a bad place for him to end up. Bengals with Joe Burrow, I think it's pretty straightforward. Falcons, obviously it's Michael Penix. But the real question about their QB situation is, what are they going to do with Kirk Cousins? Or I don't know, but Michael Penix, Kirk Cousins, Emory Jones, Easton Stick. Obviously, this Michael Penix quarterback room as of this time being. I'm assuming they're going to keep Kirk Cousins in case something happens to Michael Penix, but I don't know, man. That was a crazy one. I just still can't get over that after last year. Kirk Cousins has the 500 passing game. He has some flashes where it's like, all right, he might be okay with the Falcons uniform. And then snap your fingers to the end of the season. Michael Penix is starting. Kirk Cousins absolutely benched. I mean, the game it took for him to get benched, I mean, he looked absolutely horrible in. I mean, it looked like he had nothing left. It's just that the quarterback plateau, it's crazy how quarterbacks can be so good for so long, and then you just see that one season where it's just like, oh, he didn't really look too good. And then it's another season where it's just like, oh my God, is it? It's really over, huh? And that's kind of what we saw with Deshaun Watson. I know injuries kind of and other stuff really affected his game as well, but that's one where it's just like, man, you watch Deshaun Watson with the Texans, takes that year off, whatever, and then you watch him with the Browns, it's like, who is this guy? And then he has the injury, he comes back, it's just, oh man, this just doesn't look, it just did not look right. And that's kind of what it looked like for Kirk Cousins, so hopefully there's still some left in the tank for him, because, I mean, there's teams that, I'm sure some teams are going to end up needing a quarterback with injuries. I mean, it's inevitable that's going to happen. And Kirk Cousins could end up being that team's quarterback. And the Falcons might be able to get something for him, but at this point, I got no idea. For the Colts, I mean, this one's pretty simple. It's Daniel Jones versus Anthony Richardson with Riley Leonard and Jason Bean there as well. Man. Obviously, this is going to be an AR versus Daniel Jones thing. I hope for... I don't know if they've updated all these officially yet, but they still have Anthony Richardson injured back, which is just like, oh my gosh, of course he's still... Because most other players, I mean, they saw it for Jelani Woods as well, but there's still some guys where they're showing injuries from last season, so it's just funny to see Anthony Richardson injured, because I'm like, damn, is he already injured to start the season? But no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, honestly, Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones, I don't know who I'd prefer between the two at this point. I've gone back and forth. I think when it comes down to it, I want Anthony Richardson, because if he succeeds, that means we're getting the highest potential of athletic quarterback that can move, but also can complete some insane throws. It's just, man, he has a ways to go as a passer, it seems like. Because, I mean, it just sucks, because you saw it week 1 against the Texans. He hits that absolute beautiful bomb of a throw. And then he's sailing drags 5 yards. He's missing guys on the sideline out of bounds by 15 yards. It's just, man, if he can figure it out, it's going to be awesome. But Daniel Jones, I would say, is kind of the, sorry about that. I'd argue Daniel Jones is kind of the, I won't say a lesser version of Anthony Richardson, but he can basically do everything Anthony Richardson can. It's just his running ability. I don't think it's as good, and I think Anthony Richardson might have a bit of a stronger arm, but I don't know. We'll have to see. This quarterback situation is going to get very, very, very interesting for the Colts because I wouldn't be shocked if both guys end up with playing time this season. As of right now, from the offseason, from what I heard, I mean, I don't know who's won it. I don't think there's a clear, front runner right now from the offseason, but I'm assuming Anthony Richardson's the front runner from the offseason. I think it's more of one of those situations where it's Anthony Richardson. I mean, they're saying it's a QB battle, but I think it's one of those things where it's Anthony Richardson's job until he proves that, all right, we need to put Daniel Jones in. And maybe this could be like a Bryce Young situation where they bench Anthony Richardson for a game or two, put him back in, and he ends up being good. I don't know. It's just if this doesn't work out, the Colts are probably looking at Ballard's gone, Shane Steichen might be gone, Anthony Richardson they would obviously get rid of him. Daniel Jones would. I mean, I'm not gonna say blow it up, but there's a blow up potential looming on the horizon. So that does make me nervous as a Colts fan. Cardinals, they obviously have Kyler Murray. Dolphins, they picked up Quinn Ewers in the 7th round, which I think will be huge for if something does happen to Tua. But between Quinn Ewers and Zach Wilson, that's a battle for second place. Dallas Cowboys, I mean, it's Dak Prescott's team. Backup-wise, we're probably looking at Will Grier, Joe Milton right now. Joe Milton's probably the backup, if I had to guess. They traded for him, so I'm assuming he's the backup. Brock Purdy, I'm assuming he's going to be the quarterback. The 49ers usually take till the end of their offseason to get something done. If not, I guess there is Curtis Rourke and Mac Jones there, but if I had to guess, I'm assuming that the CFL draft. Oh, I'm stupid. I was sitting here, I'm like, CFL draft? How do you go in the CFL draft, too? But I forgot that there is a thing where they draft. Sometimes the CFL guys do draft NFL quarterbacks on the off chance that they don't work out. I totally did space that, but yeah, Curtis Rourke, Mac Jones, interesting. I don't know. I'm assuming, like I said, because I'm assuming they're going to get the Brock Purdy deal done. So I really don't know who's going to end up being the backup for the 49ers. But they also have Tanner Mordecai as well. I mean, yeah, that's obviously not a QB battle. That's another one where it's a QB battle for second. Justin Fields is a starter for the Jets. I don't think anyone's taking his job. Caleb Williams for the Bears is kind of sticking there. Bears, Caleb Williams, obviously isn't going to change. Bryce Young is going to stay for the Panthers. If Derek Carr's healthy, he's going to be the one to start the season. If he's not healthy, I mean, they got Jake Haener, Spencer Rattler, and Tyler Shuck. I don't think Tyler Shuck's going to be the guy that I'm hoping that I'm not hoping. I think New Orleans is hoping they can keep him on ice for a year potentially, let him learn, and then maybe have him ready. But I wouldn't be shocked if say Derek Carr's hurt and we see Jake Haener and we see Spencer Rattler. I would not be shocked if we see Tyler Shuck. Derek Carr's healthy and able to play next season. I'm assuming that he will go and he'll be the starter. But yeah, this is going to be really, really interesting when it comes down to the quarterback because it could literally be Derek Carr who has a chance to win them 7 or 8 games, I think, or it could be Jake Haener, Spencer Rattler. I think immediately it goes down to 5 to 6 games at most, or it's Tyler Shuck who I really couldn't tell you because he's one of the hardest guys to evaluate because it's just man, I view it very similar to Mitch Trubisky where but I'm not saying it to be Mitch Trubisky. He had the 1 year in college. So there's not tape wise, you can't really. That's basically my comparison to that. Because he's had the 1 year in college, so it's kind of like Mitch, where it's they did draft him high, but is it the right decision? Are we sure? He does have the measurables and all that, but he did have the injuries in college. There's a lot of questions I do have, but I don't know. They took him over Shedeur, so obviously they thought talent wise he has more potential than Shedeur does, or at least he's a better fit for them than Shedeur is. So that's the part I'm interested in. Is all right. Let's see how Tyler Shuck does end up playing because he might not end up being a bad quarterback. I'll admit, I didn't watch him too much at Louisville this last season. I know I've seen some of the tape, obviously, of how he has played, but I don't know. He's going to be an interesting guy if he ends up being the guy where the Saints start over. If he ends up starting over Rattler and Haener, I think that does give me some hope for him at least. But if the longer it takes for him to get playing time over those two guys, unless it's simply because the Saints are saving him, the more worried I get about him, I will say. Jaguars are going to start Trevor Lawrence. Patriots are Drake May. Raiders trade for Geno Smith. Giants and Browns. The reason I save these two for last is these are the two teams where it gets really, really interesting. So we'll start with the Giants first just because that one seems a little bit more set in stone. Russell Wilson has the money has the starter money. Jameis Winston has the backup money. Jackson Dart is the question of, is he going to be the backup? If the season goes super south, if they give Jackson Dart some playing time. Because if the season goes good, I'm assuming if Russell Wilson's winning and the season goes good, he's starting for sure. It's just a question of, is Jameis Winston the backup or is Jackson Dart the backup? That's really my question. I assume that's going to be Jameis Winston, and then maybe halfway through the season, they're like, all right, Jackson Dart's ready enough to be the backup, but you keep 3 QBs on your roster, so all 3 of these guys will be there for game day. It's just a matter of who's going to be the guy behind Russell Wilson. And eventually, if Russ plays bad, I mean, I think they have no issue at all. Obviously, Jackson Dart is a future as of right now, so I don't think they'll have any issue at all putting him in. I think it's just a matter of, do they try to get him some reps? Do the coaches try to save their job? There's a lot of questions I have, because the Giants, that's another team that's like, it seems like they're really, really fighting off a rebuild. But yeah, quarterback-wise, I mean, they got Russell Wilson at least for now. They at least have Jackson Dart as a future plan for the time being, and then they got Jameis. That boy will throw the ball all over the yard. It's just a matter of who getting that ball. And then final team, Cleveland Browns. This is the one I think is the most fascinating, just because I don't think Deshaun Watson's ever playing football again. Just the back-to-back Achilles tear. I mean, he already played horrible as it is. There's no way he's going to play for the Browns again, I don't think. And if he's not playing for the Browns, I don't know a team that's going to give him. And I mean, he might maybe get like a 1-year deal somewhere as a backup. But at this point, I don't even think you want to bring the issues into the locker room. So I don't know if he's ever going to play football again. So basically, it comes down to 4 guys: Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, then Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. I would assume Shedeur ends up going over Gabriel, and then it's just a matter of, can he start over Joe Flacco or Kenny Pickett. But I'm not just going to discredit Dylan Gabriel like that. I'll admit, personally, I'm not, quarterback, I'm not going to act like I'm some quarterback guru or anything like that. I mean, this is just simply personal preference from watching them play football. I don't know if I fully love Dylan Gabriel over Shedeur Sanders. So if it's personally my pick, I would have Shedeur Sanders by default starting over him. But we'll have to see playing-wise. I'm not taking anything away from Dylan Gabriel. I think he's a decent quarterback. I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm sold on him being an NFL starter. We'll have to see. But at the same time, I don't know if I'm sold on Kenny Pickett being an NFL starter either. I would assume it's going to be Joe Flacco to start out. I would think, but I don't know, man. They brought in Deontay Johnson, which is another locker room issue in itself for the Cleveland Browns. But the fact they brought him in and he played with Kenny Pickett a bit makes me think, okay, maybe they brought in a guy to ease in Kenny Pickett a little bit, make it a little bit easier for him. But at the same time, it's like, man, you got to think that if this team wants to fix, like, if the Browns want to fix themselves, get out of cap hell, fix all these like issues they've had because they've been behind because of the Deshaun Watson contract, they're gonna start Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel, so they have a rookie contract in there. Like that's what they're gonna get to very clearly. It's just a matter of, do they start with it at the beginning of the season? Is Joe Flacco or Kenny Pickett going to start? Then they go to the rookie. Is the rookie going to start? Maybe the rookie sits all season, both of them, and they try to draft another quarterback next year because they do have the draft capital to do that. That's going to be the fun one this offseason. The Cleveland Browns, like, all right, is Shedeur Sanders going to start? Is Dylan Gabriel? Is it Kenny Pickett? Or is it Joe Flacco? Because I think, basically, we talked about it. I would say, other than the Saints, there's not really, maybe, so I would say, but even then, I wouldn't say it's to this level. The Browns, Saints, Steelers, and Vikings are 4 teams where they're, like, really, like, all right, who is going to be the quarterback? And I would say, like I said, Vikings, we kind of already know it's probably going to be J.J. McCarthy, so I'll knock them off the list. Steelers, it's Aaron Rodgers, Mason Rudolph, or Will Howard. Kind of knock them off the list. So that leaves like the Saints and if Derek Carr starts, just Derek Carr. But at this point, we really don't know what's going to happen to Derek Carr. So it's like, these are the two, Browns and the Saints are the 2 teams where I truly look at it. It's like, I could see any of these dudes starting at this point. It's just a matter of who's actually going to win the job. So that's something I'm very excited to watch out for and see. But we'll have to wait till what happens. Like I said, we're 121 days away till NFL Week 1. And by then, we'll for sure know at least who's starting it out. But I would say over under 2.5. If you gave me the over under at 2.5 quarterbacks playing for the Cleveland Browns, I hate to say it, but I kind of lean the over. I think there's a good chance they give some of these guys some real tryouts. But we'll have to see. But yeah, that does it for this section and pretty much the quarterback battles going. So that's pretty much quarterback battles go around the NFL. Yeah. We'll go over some NFL news now. To start out, seems like Nick Chubb's kind of done with the Browns. They extend Jerome Ford. They shine Quinshon Judkins in the draft. So that's more of a looks like they're probably finally moving on from Nick Chubb, which really, really sucks. Because now that he's had the 2 injuries, his career probably, I'm not going to say it's over, but it's definitely towards the twilight end now, which really, really sucks because it seemed like he had so much promise and so much juice before the college injury. Even after the college injury, and now he had the same knee that got beat up in the NFL. It's just super, super sad. Something that's kind of cool, though, Tank Dell, he has an awesome leg sleeve. I'll admit, I'm not the biggest fan of horror movies, but still like him. So seeing his leg sleeve, that was really awesome. But something sad for him, and the Houston Texans kind of gave it away in the draft. He's probably not playing this whole year. I think it's almost guaranteed that he's out for the full season. I'm not 100% sure on that, but even if there's a chance he comes back, I really doubt Tank Dell comes back this year. And his NFL career might be done as well, which really, really sucks because he's had 2 really, really scary leg injuries. And now, like I said, the Texans ended up drafting 2 wide receivers in the draft. They ended up getting Christian Kirk in free agency. So that's kind of all those directions are pointing at, man, I don't know if we're getting Tank Dell back. But like I said, some other NFL news. Those were just 2 stories I want to bring up. This is a big one that's way off topic. Shooter Sanders, not this one, but Shooter Sanders wearing number 12, but this one. Ravens are releasing Justin Tucker after 13 seasons. This is what the team came out. This is what General Manager Eric DeCosta said. Sometimes football decisions are incredibly difficult, and this is one of those instances. He said, considering our roster, we have made the tough decision to release Justin Tucker. This is coming off of, I would say, 2 things. One is he was beyond average in 2024. I would say for Justin Tucker, he sucked. But for every other NFL kicker, I would say he's about average. And he also has apparently accused of, at least by 16 massage therapists, he's been accused of sexual assault. So that's another thing they're looking into now. I saw somebody make up a wild rumor that they were like, what if the Ravens were just hiding this the whole time and now that these suck, they've let it loose. It's like, okay, that's a bit wild too, to be fair. But it makes you wonder, like, all this stuff is, I'm not saying, by the way, I'm not putting any credit to that. It's just all this stuff does come out about what happened to him during the season. He has a really bad season. You wonder if that weighed on him or not. And then now that the Ravens drafted a kicker, so you go, okay, so they're starting to prepare for the Justin Tucker thing. The fact that they've released him now makes me really, really wonder, like, oh, okay, is he actually going to be like done in the NFL? I'm assuming that if he's like, assuming he's not going to get in trouble for any of this stuff, I think any other team would have no issue at all. I think almost every NFL team, unless they have like a stud kicker, would be willing to be like, yeah, we'll give Justin Tucker a tryout. Why not? It just sucks because, like I said, he kicked at 73.3% field goal percentage last year, which is the lowest single season mark in his career. His career average is 89.1, which is the NFL record, but I would think that somebody would give him a tryout, assuming that this legal stuff doesn't become an issue. But if this legal stuff does become an issue, crazy to think that this is how the career of Justin Tucker is going to end. And I mean, regardless, it's just the way for him to end in Baltimore now. It's just going from one of the greatest kickers ever to having his season lowest percentage ever in his career to now all this stuff about the massage therapist and everything going on about it. Apparently disgruntled Colorado football fan is trying to file a $100 million lawsuit over Shador's draft slide. I'm not gonna lie, people try to sue for everything nowadays. It's a bit ridiculous. He says emotional distress is trauma. So obviously this is like kind of a half-assed joke, but so apparently in addition to $100 million in damages this person is seeking, he wants a formal acknowledgement regarding the emotional distress caused by their actions, a statement from the NFL, an apology, a restriction of the slander statement. This is ridiculous, man. I just wanted to bring that up because that's just absolutely ridiculous. And it sounds like, I don't think it's actually going to go out, but it sounds like somebody's actually trying to do this. I mean, I won't lie to you, man. Suing somebody else for somebody else falling in the draft, that shit crazy. That's ridiculous. But it sounds like Pittsburgh is going to be some news about the NFL draft. Pittsburgh's hosting the NFL draft next year, so in 2026. And in 2027, we are heading to Washington, D.C. to go for the Commanders. So apparently, Mike Green has been open about sexual assault allegations. And I believe this is a guy who was... this is a guy from Marshall who, at the NFL... he basically transferred from Virginia to Marshall, and he said that at the NFL Scouting Combine that he had transferred after being accused of sexual assault for the second time. So there are some character issues surrounding this guy, but the Ravens basically says... I mean, this guy came out and he said he has been pretty open about it and everything, which I'll admit I haven't double-checked research and everything to be 100% sure about that, but from everything it sounds like from all the people that I listen to in the sports world and everything, I mean, he has been open about the issues that have been going on, but it's hard to ignore shit like that, especially in the NFL. Like, obviously the NFL if you're very, very talented, the NFL will bypass anything and they'll be willing to forget some stuff. But there's certain things that the NFL's like, all right, we're gonna have to wait on that. And there's a reason that he dropped as low as he did in the drafts, because eventually, I hate to say it, but if you're super talented at a certain point, an NFL team will give you a chance, because at a certain point the talent does prevail. But it is going to be interesting to keep an eye on this dude, just because of the stuff that has been following him in his career, just to see if, like, all right, can he open a new leaf now that he's in the NFL, or is this going to follow and haunt him? Adam Thielen said this 2025 could potentially be his last year. He said, I told the guys at the end of the season, like every year, you look back and you say, hey, what left do I have to give this game this time? I think this also is a contract reason as well as to why he's potentially thinking about being done. He turned 35 in August as well. He's entering third year of his career as a Panther. And I think he has to maybe max one more year on his contract, but yeah, they also signed in Hunter Renfrow. The Panthers did, so that's also a move making you think, like, man, are they trying to kind of have Hunter Renfrow shown the ropes by Adam Thielen, and then as Adam Thielen goes, Hunter Renfrow's a new guy. That's something to keep an eye on there, but Adam Thielen, I would say for sure, has at max 3 seasons. I wouldn't even say 3. I would say probably one more season after the following would be his max, but I don't know. That's something to keep an eye on, because, yeah, it sounds like he's pretty much about to be done. Past that, so apparently the 49ers rejected a trade offer to trade Kittle, and I'm trying to see if they talk about what the trade offer is. It says that included a second-round pick. Yeah, I would think they'd want more than just a second-round pick for George. Although, I will say, when it comes to NFL trades, it seems to never be what we think it is, and that's just crazy to think about, because there's so many times where you watch a guy get traded, and you look at it, it's like, he only went for a third? DeAndre Hopkins went for a 5th rounder. Stuff like that where you're just like, man, that's all he went for. But so I think they were going to trade Kittle. Obviously, they didn't. Instead, they signed him to a 4-year extension, which makes sense because, as a lot of people say, he's the heart and soul of the team. So, yeah. And then apparently for Hunter Renfrow, for those of you who don't know, he didn't play at all last year. And it's because of ulcerative colitis. Sorry, I don't know why that was so... Ulcerative colitis. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say, but he dropped from 185 pounds to 150, and he had to go to the emergency room multiple times for inflammation. So that sounds like it honestly really fucking sucks to deal with. And the fact that he had to miss all the NFL last year, but is able to come back and play this year, that's honestly truly awesome for him. And hopefully he will be able to basically overpower it and actually continue his NFL career, because, yeah, that just sounds like it sucks to deal with. The final thing I want to talk about today is we're going to talk a little bit of college football playoff news. So there is some talk about the college football playoff and an expansion, I think, which is not only an expansion, but a change to the formatting and everything, because I think a lot of people were upset with how the seeding went. A lot of people were upset with mainly the seeding, let's be honest. So one of the things that they're going to talk about doing is 14 teams. They're going to expand to 14 teams. I don't know if they're going to do this upcoming season. I think they're going to wait one more season, so 2024, 2025, we had that. 2025, 2026, the same thing as last year, I believe, maybe. And then 2027 is when they're going to start making a lot of these changes. I could be wrong about that. Like I said, they're still meeting and trying to figure out some of the rules in this and all that. But some stuff that is for sure that I can say, it has to deal with the bowl rotation and the playoff schedule. That has been announced. So the first round will be December 19th and 20th. And it'll be Friday. We'll have 1 game. Saturday, we'll have 3 games. These will all be on campus. The quarterfinals will then be December 31st through January 1st. This is Wednesday, Thursday. And they have announced the bowls as well. The Cotton Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the Rose Bowl, and the Sugar Bowl will all host the quarterfinals. The semifinals will be the Fiesta Bowl and the Peach Bowl, which will be Thursday, January 8th, Friday, January 9th. And then Monday, January 19th at Hard Rock Stadium will be the College Football National Championship. My first immediate thought about looking at this is like, why aren't there any Friday or Saturday games after the first weekend? And then you start to remember like, that's about NFL playoff time. That's when I think the agreement between college and NFL ends, so NFL's allowed to play some of their games on Saturday. I think other sports are starting to have big stuff going on then, especially college. No, because college basketball, yeah, that's about when their conference schedule begins. So I'm very fascinated with the fact that they don't have very many weekend games at all, but no, I will not complain at all because we know how it goes. Throughout the weekend, they're just going to have all the bowl games, like not the Citrus Bowl, but like the Springtime Bahamas Bowl, the Pop-Tarts Bowl, the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes Bowl, all those types of bowls. So we got to look forward to that. So like I said, if you want to hear that, just click back a few. All those have been officially announced. That should be official for this upcoming season. And like I said, some stuff that now that they're looking at. We talked about the bowls being moved. They actually also moved the Rose Bowl up. That's a guarantee now. The Rose Bowl is going to be played an hour earlier. So if it starts at 5:30 Pacific, Eastern, Western, whenever it starts, it now starts at 4:30. So it's going to be a whole hour sooner, which would hopefully help with, especially the scenery at the end. So like around that fourth quarter, the sun should be setting around those mountains out there. So it should absolutely be beautiful. But it also should help, I think, with playoff games ending so late. Because I won't lie, that was one of my biggest complaints for sure, is that if you worked early in the morning, I mean, it's like if you had to be up early, like some of these games were ending super, super late. So it's like I got lucky that, I mean, I was off with surgery, so I was like, oh, I can watch this game without any consequences. Don't have to worry about that. But normally I have to be up like super early. It's like, man, I got to stay up now until midnight to watch this national championship. Then I got to wake up at 5 for work. It's like anytime they can move these games up a little bit to help out the Eastern time, folks, we appreciate it. Because, yeah, some of these Eastern tips are just so late. Like, especially for the NBA, some of these tips are like at 10 p.m. And it's like, all right, so it's stay up to 1:30 to watch this game or catch it tomorrow. And then to move on, one of the last things they're talking about with the college football playoffs, or at least one of the last big things I want to bring up today, 1 through 4 teams on the top of the standings are the teams that get the byes. So, for example, if it goes Georgia, Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State, 1 seed's Alabama, 2 seeds Georgia, or however I said that, 3 seeds Notre Dame, 4 teams Ohio State. 1 through 4, they get the first byes. And then if you win a conference title, instead of being an automatic bye now, I think it's just an automatic qualifier for the playoffs, which realistically it should have always been, because no offense to Boise State or anything, but they shouldn't get an automatic bye. I get they're the highest rated conference champion, but compared to what some of these other teams play conference-wise, like that's the team that shouldn't be getting an automatic bye. Unless, like said, they're playing like if they would have beat Oregon on their schedule and they would have, say they had another big team, they would have beat them, then it's like, okay, they actually did earn that. But for losing to Oregon and then having the softer schedule, I understand them not getting a bye and them just getting an automatic qualifier. I like that a lot because at least it still keeps the group of 5 teams in. And that's something I think that they really should move to. I'm sure they will. Like it sounds like they're going to go to 14 teams. Like a conference title game is just an automatic qualifier because conference championships still need to matter. Because I just hate where it's gotten to the point where, especially in college basketball, you go into college basketball now, they have a conference championship regular season, conference championship tournament, and then the March Madness. And basically the conference championship regular season, it matters, obviously, because you get deeper in the seeding. But if you really think about it, like, it doesn't matter too much, because now it does a little bit more since the conferences are bigger, but just even 2 years ago, everyone in the conference made the conference tournament. So really, if you got first, it's like, cool, you get 2 extra byes. So that part is nice, but I like when conference championships like really matter. So this is going to be awesome. The fact that you get an automatic college football playoff spot, I like that because I think conference championships should matter because, I mean, realistically, this is the whole thing. We don't need to get on a big rant about it, but I just think conferences should matter. I think it matters. It should matter who you play. I think it should matter, like, the people you play against are tougher. And you should get rewarded for, like, hey, especially like SEC, Big Ten, ACC, conferences like that. It's like, hey, so it's good for the Big Ten. It's like, hey, I beat Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State. I'm the champion of our conference. So it's like, man, I'm the best team over Ohio State, Penn State, stuff like that. Like, I think it should matter. I know that's I'm not acting like I'm looking at this from a very technical point of view, but just in general, I like that it matters. Those conference championship games, I know that it's been made a big thing, mainly to make money and all that, but I do enjoy that they matter. I do enjoy the fact that now you get something for it. I like how now we're tweaking it. It's just like, all right, because it's not, like I said, for the Boise State example, it would suck for, say, Alabama, they're 11-2 conference champ. Let me rephrase that. They're Alabama, they're 11-1. They for sure deserve a playoff spot. And let's argue, they should even deserve a bye, but they aren't going to get the bye because Boise State got it for winning the conference. Like, it just got so messy last year. Like, even me saying this, I don't need to go into like large details. If you look back at any of the conversations from last year about the seeding and how it worked out, people were just losing their damn mind. So I'm glad that they're starting to switch it, and I'm going to be excited to see what ends up coming from it because I like the college football playoffs. It just definitely needs some tweaking because, just needs some tweaking. Thank you all for watching today's report. I really do appreciate it. I'll be back in this feed Thursday to go over some more NFL stuff. Probably drop in some more college football as well just because, man, it's getting to that time. By the time I get back on here, we're going to be under 118 days And then, man, it's so crazy to think we're like 2 or 3 weeks away from like doing full-on breakdowns of divisions, of player props, all that stuff. I'm really excited. Can't wait to do that. Man, we're just ever closer to it. But like I said, thank you all for watching. Really do appreciate the support. I will see everyone back in this feed for some more football talk on Thursday.